Hi, Billu. Hi, everyone. Billu looking good.
Thank you so much.
Where are you now, Istanbul?
I'm in Germany, in
Ah,
Cologne,
okay.
right now. I moved here, I think 3 weeks ago. So
Okay.
sorry that we were not able to make it before, uh, you know, because of the relocation.
Ah, okay, understood. So you moved to Germany permanently or for some work?
Uh, Probably permanently.
Ah,
So
okay.
let's see what happens in the future.
Great. Andre has also joined. He might, uh, you can also meet him someday.
Why not?
Yeah, right. Okay. For some reason, my
Yep.
video not working. Yeah, Andre, where are you?
Yep. Hello. I'm currently walking in the dunes, walking to the beach,
Great.
and then I want to just watch this session, and after that, enjoy the sunny day here in the Netherlands.
Super. Super. Nice to see you have joined and thanks. Really
Yep.
appreciate you took some time
No
and
problem.
joined. Yeah. So thank you. And thank you everyone for joining. I think we will have an awesome session. Uh, Billur, our dynamics lady, will take this, will lead this session. However, I will also help her for the question answer round. But definitely Billur will cover the budget control part. We also shared the agenda, what Billur is going to share. So yeah, over to you, Billur.
All right. Welcome all. Let me share my screen. Please tell me when you can see.
Yes.
Perfect. Today we are going to go over the budget control. In our previous session, you may remember we have seen how we can upload budgets, how we can manage the budgets, copy them, and to see the values with the actuals in our previous session. And we said that we will go over how we use the budgets to control the expenses and etc. in the system. So today we are going to cover that. Let me introduce myself for the ones who do not know me, but I'm Bilo Şamlancıoğlu. I'm an MVP, I'm an MCT, and I am a certified solution architect. I've been in this industry since 2004. I started with Dynamics 3.0. It was Accepta before. I have been in more than 40 projects, and as you can know that I'm very passionate on Dynamics 365 F&O. So it's enough talking about me, so let's move to our agenda. In our agenda, what we are going to cover in this session is to understand the concept of the budget control and to understand how we are going to configure budget control on the budgeting module and to use the budget control. For that purpose, for using the budget control, I will just make a couple of examples for you. So the budget control is that supports the management of an organizational financial resources through the chart of accounts, workflows, user groups, source documents and journals, configurable calculation of available funds, budget cycles, and thresholds. This is why we use the budget control functionality in the system. And the budget control, you can configure according to several factors. These are financial dimensions, time, source documents, funds available calculation, and override permissions. When we check them, we can say that the financial dimensions is about to report budget and actuals, and what financial dimensions are required to control the budgets. Are there any specific dimension combinations or main accounts that require particular attention? For example, if there is a requirement to track budget to actuals by cost center or business units or departments, Or like, for example, do travel expenses need some more special attention? So this is how you can set up the budget control accordingly. And time, of course, what a budget needs. What time frame, like fiscal period to date, and so on, that you can manage, will be used to evaluate the available budget funds. Source documents are also very important in this case, because source documents, for what source documents must be evaluated for the budget control? Should the documents will be evaluated per line or per document, for example, is very critical to decide during the setup of the budget control. Funds available calculation is like, for example, the documents such as purchase requisitions or purchase orders are going to be considered in the calculation of the available funds. Should documents that are in draft should be also considered in calculation of the funds available. So this is what we are going to set up and decide in the budget control parameters. And the override permissions are for who has permissions to exceed the available budget. So these are the critical things, critical factors that we need to decide for the budget control. Budget control is fully integrated with the application. So you can evaluate the available budget for both planned purchase orders, actual purchases. You have budget inquiries and reports available, and you can make any adjustments that are required in the system. So if you are using like travel expenses, purchase orders, general journals, you can all put those controls in the budget control because it's integrated with the application. What you have to configure is that there are several things that you have to set up when you try to activate the budget controls. You have budget cycles, you define parameters, generate parameters, of course. You have over budget permissions, budget funds available, documents and journals, assign budget models, define budget control rules, select main accounts, define budget groups, define message levels, and then activate the budget control. This is what we are going to see in the session, how we configure each of these lines. So budget cycles are often correspond to fiscal calendars, but can span fiscal years. So when we go to the dynamics, okay, to the budgeting module, under the setup, under budget control, there are budget cycles. So here you will be able to define your budget cycle time spans, and then according to this time spans, you can control your budget. Another thing that we have to do is to define the parameters. So here you will be able to select the budgeting control dimensions. As you may remember, in our previous sessions, we said that we do not need to use all the dimensions that we use in the general ledger when we are doing our budgeting, right? And in here, in these parameters, we can also select the budget control dimensions. So let's go to the system where we set up. Here, under budget control configuration, and the first parameter, here we select the account structure and then select the budget control dimensions by clicking them into the relevant field. Here, the thing is that you need to know is that it depends on the account structure. So this account structure setup should be very wisely considered when you first put out into the system in the first phases when you set up the ledger. So here you select the account structure and then select the relevant control dimensions from the budget dimensions. So to be able to do that, you have to create a draft, okay? So when you create a draft, you will be able to edit. If you want to restore to active version after you make your changes and you don't want to do or use that changes, you can restore to active version. Also, we have defined default budget control parameters. As mentioned, these are the default budget control parameters and can be changed in later on the groups that you want to use or in any new budget control rule. You can always edit it, but here what you can do is that set up a default one and then change if required. Here you can specify a default budget manager and a threshold that is used to notify users when the threshold has been reached. The values in these fields will be used as default, as we mentioned, and can be changed. Over budget permissions. This parameter allow or prevent users on exit of the budget. So here, when we go to over budget permissions, as you can see, we have groups. So on these groups, you can also assign user to these user groups. This is system standard user group form when you go there. And then you can assign the employees, your users, into these groups. And here on the over budget options, you can select prevent over budget processing or allow over budget processing or prevent processing at over budget thresholds. And then after we decide on this one, we have budget funds available. This is used to sum or subtract the funds available. Here you will be able to select which ones to add and which ones to subtract from your budget funds. Here, as you can see, there is original budget, preliminary budget, budget revisions, draft budget revisions, budget transfers, draft budget transfers in, draft budget transfers out, and to subtract, we have actual expenditures, unposted actual expenditures, budget reservation for encumbrances, budget reservation for unconfirmed encumbrances, reduction to budget reservation for unconfirmed encumbrances, budget reservation for pre-encumbrances, and budget reservation for unconfirmed pre-encumbrances. Once you select or remove the selection, you will see here the formula that you have selected. So here it says budget funds available equals to original budget plus budget revisions, budget transfers, minus the total of the actual expenditures plus unposted actual expenditures, etc. So when I click, for example, to draft budget reservations, as you can see, the formula changes and add down what I have selected in here, draft budget reservations. We have documents and journals. So here in the documents and journals,
You, Vilu, you are in mute. Vilu.
hello, sorry, I think I mute myself.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, fine.
Okay.
Yes.
So here in documents and journals, you will be able to see which documents that you can put the control on, right? For example, advanced ledger entries, allocation journals, daily journals, expense reports, fixed asset journals, general budget reservation, payroll pay statement, project expense journals, purchase orders, purchase requisitions, travel requisitions, and vendor invoices. You may say that you don't want to put any control on the fixed asset journals because they are fixed asset, for example. You can just remove that checkbox from here. So in this case, during posting of the fixed asset, this control will not be done for the fixed asset journals. Or you may say that, okay, I'm not using daily journals, just for some cases I use them and I do not want budget control to be applied on the daily journals. You can also remove the selection from here. Or you may say that no, it's very important to control in the daily journals as well. So you can select this control on here. In addition, the new budget control document filtering enhancement feature that is available as of Microsoft Dynamics 365 version of 10.027. So here it provides a query-based filter for each document that is included in budget control. So here you can specify which budget control documents are budget checked. So for example, if you want to control only the purchase orders where the pull field is set to 01, you can just do the filtering in here. Also, what is important here is that you should match the source documents that are selected with the checkboxes for balances that are included in the calculation on the available fund budgets. For example, if you have selected the budget reservation for encumbrances, then here you should select the purchase order options as well. So budget funds available and documents and journals work together. This is a thing that we need to consider that while we are setting up a parameter to define. And then we assign budget models. We assign budget models to budget cycle time spans that should be included in the budget control. We have created the budget cycle time spans. Now what we do is that we get them together. Here, under assign budget models, we select the budget cycle time span. Here you can say the budget cycle. And here you will select the budget cycle itself. Starting and ending period automatically appears, and then you match with budget model. Let's continue. Define budget control rules. Here you can define rules for budget control. You can assign user group budget permissions accordingly. So let's come there. As you can see, there are two defined as standard. One is for selling expenses and the other is the training. Here, you will be able to select criteria. For example, you can say that if the main account is between and includes this and that, you can define the user group budget permissions. Here, when I come here, as you can say, this group can prevent over budget processing, allow over budget processing, and prevent processing at over budget threshold. And here you will be able to also see perform budget group check when budget funds are not available, or prevent budget group check when the budget funds are not available as well. So, also as I have mentioned, the definition that we have done under the defined parameters automatically arise in here, but you can change that information. Here, it's not about just the main account, but by adding a new criteria, you can add business unit, for example, according to this setup that you have made, or department, or any other dimensions that you have added. And then we have another control. Sorry, before we go there, for example, if you want to focus on the expenditure or range of expenditures for a department, you can use this setting on this tab to define and evaluate those expenditures as well. So if nothing is defined in here, system will control everything. So in the select main account, you can select the GL accounts if main account is not selected as budget dimension. As you may remember from our previous slides, presentations, we have added main account as a budget dimension. But if we did not select it, you can define main accounts in here that should be controlled in the budget control. So if you need to control specific expenditures to be managed, you can select in here. If main account is selected as a budget control dimension, as I said, no entries are required. Okay. Define budget groups. You can optionally define unique combination of financial dimensions where budget resources are pooled for secondary budget checking. Here, it is almost the same as the defined budget control rules, but this is used for any detailed secondary controls. And we have define message levels. Here, you can select the groups that will not require warning messages. So, if control warning messages should be suppressed for any user groups, you can specify those groups on the define message levels tab. Members of the user groups will continue to receive error messages when they exceed the available funds based on their over budget permissions. All right, so here you will be able to select or clear the user groups that you want to suppress budget control warning messages. Okay, and then once we set up all the controls that are required or optional according to our setup, what we have to do is to activate the budget control. Here, there are two buttons here, all right? One is activate and the other is the turn on. Activate means that save these parameters, and turn on means that, okay, start the budget control, okay? So one of the first one is to activate the configuration to take effect. So you don't need to stop active control during you are changing the setups. System will control according to the previous active configuration. Once you activate it, all right, it will start with your new configuration. When you turn on, this means that, okay, I'm starting to control my budget. When you turn off, of course, the budget control will be taken off. So I would like to create some examples for that one from the journals, because journals are always the easier, and what system does is also the same for the other modules. So let's continue with the examples. First, I will create a budget cycle. But first, I need to create the calendar for me to be able to post the transaction in 2023. Let me add a new year for 2023. Let me create a budget model for 2023 from the budget module. Now, what I would like to do is from the budget control, from the budget cycle, create a cycle. Let me add to fiscal. And let me select the starting period. Okay, when I select the starting period, the ending period appears. So let me go to my budget control configuration. Okay, I will not change this. I will not change our budget permissions. Okay, funds available, documents, journals, daily journal is here, so it's fine. Let me assign here the budget model. Let's say our budget cycle time span is fiscal. Our budget cycle is 2023 that we have created. As you can see, the starting and ending period is the same. Let me select the budget model that we have created. All right. So let's have specific budget controlled rule. I will not change this one, but what I will do is that for sales expenses, let's say is I would like to have this account to be controlled and the business unit should be 100. Okay, so I have made control for both main account and the business unit is 100. I will not select main accounts because that's my budget.
Okay, fine. Go ahead.
All right. I'm going into the lines. All right. Let me put out the account that I have selected. Then let me select business unit. Oh, business unit is 001. Okay, I have to change it then. Let me just do the control again. From the parameters, I need to change it. So I'm going to budget again. Budget control configuration. In here, let me create draft and say business unit 001. And then activate it again. Let's go to general journals. I can use the same journal. Or I can create a new one. Two lines. Business unit, select it. I select the other parameter, the other dimensions that are required for general journal, right? and then let me debit 100 and select something for the offset account. Okay, and now try to post it. What I expect is that I will not be able to post it according to the budget controls. And as you can see, I have two messages. One of them is info message and the other one is the error message. In the info message, it says that transaction general journal 000805 exceeds the budget funds available for dimension value 600 300 001 0022 by 100 US dollars. This is why it's showing just me the two dimensions, because on budget we apply two dimensions accordingly. And it gives me the error message that budget group sales, with which we put all the values in, for dimension value, the same account and the dimensions has exceeded budget funds available by 100 US dollar on transaction on this journal. Okay, so what we should do, what we can do is that delete the journal, right? And do not put it into an expense or change the account, for example. Or we can ask for new budget, right? So under functions, we have budget checks, errors, or warnings. So here I select budget checks, errors, or warnings. Here I will be able to see the account, budget check results, and result detail. It says that budget funds available exceeded. Here I will be able to see the budget group, amount over budget, budget threshold, and the other information. You may create a budget request or view the budget requests accordingly. So let's create a budget request. For this one, system will fulfill all the relevant information like budget model, budget transfer code, you can change it, transaction date, currency, and the other related information. You can change the amount if you need more. So, and then say create a budget request. And then the budget transfer request was created successfully. So to be still, this is a request. So still, this needs to be approved and posted. Or for example, if we have selected the draft, we may continue, but still, we have to go according to our parameters to budget module and post this transaction. Okay, here once you put this request, or before, it doesn't matter, you can see budget control statistics by period. Okay, here as you can see the budget cycle. You can see dimension detail by dimension values or budget group. It depends on you. According to dimension values, you will be able to see the dimension value, or if you select budget group, then you have to select your budget group like sales, if you want to see only the group of sales. You can see by fiscal period, budget cycle, show net change, show accumulated. If carry forward, you can see the amounts in total not included or included. So here, as you can see, we will be able to see the budget funds, total revised, actual, budget reservation for encumbrances, and budget reservation for pre-encumbrances. Okay, so let me change and go to the budget control statistics. Also in the budget control statistics, You will be able to see this information according to the dimension values and budget group as well. Here you will be able to see what there is in here as well. And if you have doubts on the setups, you can also go to the budget control configuration directly from this form. So you don't have to go in, go out. You can directly click on the budget control configuration and see what has been defined on the budget control form. Okay, let's not leave here. Let me open another tab and go to budget. See what happened on the budget. I go to budgeting. I'm going to budget register entries. Okay, you'll see this is the one that I have sent it. Its budget type is transfer and the status is draft. And I can see here the source document, right? So when I go in here, I will be able to see the details as a, for example, budget manager or someone that can approve, that can post. And then I will add this one. For example, I can do some editing. It's because that I know I would require some other like business unit, department information for another thing. All right. Let me update budget balances. Okay, now this means that budget is approved. It's fine. So I should be able to post this transaction. So when I post, I will be able to post. Okay, because now I have enough funds. This was the form that I've shown you, the journal and the error message that we have. Then we go to the budget checks of warnings and is able to see what the error message is. We can see the statistics, budget controls, and we have created the budget requests. And then we will be able to report it. So let's go to the budget control reports. Under budgeting, under inquiries and reports, we have budget control reports. There are different types of reports. I will show you some of them. The budget control statistics is the same report that I've shown, but in here you will be able to see them all. So you can have by dimension values or specific budget group. If you select budget group, you need to select budget group here. If you select dimension values, it will show it all. You can give up a start and end date. So when you say apply parameters, as you can see, you will be able to see the which accounts, which dimension description that you see, budget funds available, total revised budget, total actuals, and budget reservation for encumbrances, budget reservation for pre-encumbrances, and the percent that is used. Well, we have the budget and we have spent it all. The percent used is 100. Another also budget control report is budget control statistics by period. Here you can see the budget cycle, dimension values, budget group. Let's select the budget group, okay? And then you can select by fiscal period or cycle and the other information. And when you say apply parameters, you will be able to see the details in here as well, according to the period for that budget group. And we have financial reports. As you remember, I have mentioned in our first session, we have financial reports. You can see and create your own reports from the financial reports. You can see, for example, actuals, budget, the differences, the percentages in the financial reports functionality. And we have budget analysis. And in this budget analysis, what is different from the others are the financial dimension sets. So like in the trial balance, you can here select the dimension set that you want to report. For example, let's here select the business unit rather than the main account. So you can select the financial dimension set as business unit. You select the column set if you would like to see expense budget with carry forwards, revenue budgets, and operating results, which posting layers you would like to see, and then say calculate balances. So when you calculate it, you will be able to see the original budget, revised budget, actual expenditures, encumbrances, pre-encumbrances, remaining, and the percent used here, as you can see for this budget model. And if you want these inquiries in a more page shaped, I'm not going to run them, but you may run it. There are budget control accounts detail history report, budget control activity by project report, and budget analyzer report that you can run as budget control reports. As an additional info, this is actually how system controls the budget according to the module. So if it's not a journal, but if it's a purchase order, if it's an invoice, or if it's a project expense, system will also always do the same, actually, for the same functionalities run the system. So showing one almost is showing them all. So, but as an additional info, you might have your budgets in different currency than the company currency. For example, your company is US dollars, but you want to have your budget in euros, right? Because your main company is, for example, in Germany, and you are in USA. So you want to create your budgets in euros, report on euros, but you want to take the controls, of course, in the system in US dollars. So system will control according to the US dollars. In this case, the budget exchange rates are very important during the budget control. Conversions will be done according to the exchange rates selected on the ledger parameters. So you have to be sure what you have selected and what you have uploaded as exchange rates on the general ledger as the budget. So let me show you that one as well. Under general ledger, you may remember under ledger setup, we have ledger. And here we select the budget exchange rate type. So system will convert and do the controls of your transactions if you have budgeted in different currency than your transactional, not your transactional, but your company currency, budget exchange rate type and its own rates will be considered during the control. So you have to be sure what you have selected in here and that you have uploaded the correct exchange rates in them. That was all actually that I'm going to tell you about the controls. So for this one, I have used Microsoft Learn, of course. to understand the budgeting process and to apply the details for the controls. And thank you for listening and joining this session. So we have still, I think, 15 minutes or 11 minutes, right? So I can take your questions one by one if you have any.
Okay. I think Shubham has raised his hand. Shubham, you can ask.
Okay.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, hi, Ramesh. So I have a particular question, a scenario based. Hello.
I think there's too much noise somewhere.
Ankit, I'm muting you for a minute.
If
Yeah,
you would
hello.
like to, you can write down to chat. Is it okay for you? So we can read from the chat.
I think Shubham will come back. Maybe in the meantime, we can take Ankit's question.
Sure.
Yeah, hi Bilor. Thank you for this informative session. Yeah. So just you said we can create budget in different currencies. So do we need to create budget entries in different currencies?
Correct. You can do that. You can create different currencies in the budget. I have shown in our previous meeting, but let me just show you some, okay? I have uploaded this one. Can you see my screen? I think I closed it, but just a second. Let me reshare my screen for you. Just give me a moment. I cannot not see. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes.
When I say new, okay, let me select my budget model again. And the budget code, of course. For example, it's the original budget, let's say. Here, when I say add line, okay, here I select the dimension values. For example, let's say we're going to use this account. It doesn't matter what the account is actually now. And when I say, for example, 100, it is defaulted to US dollars, but when I say euros, okay, it will still save, okay? So when I come here and say insert columns, okay, and let's add the amount in here. I think that was the correct one. No, not this one. First one is the correct one. Okay, as you can see here in the amount, I will be able to see what it is in US dollars. So this is very important because this information is being taken from the budget exchange rates.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Just one more question. So suppose my company, parent company is in Germany, and my uh, subsidiary company in India, and both have different fiscal year. So can we create budgets control according to my parent company?
Yes, fiscal years are according to your setups actually. You can.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Billu. Thanks, Ankit. I think we can take questions from Mohammed Salim.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for this session. I have two questions. The one is there in the budget control formula, there are three ticks for the purchase order. I just want to understand the third tick for the purchase order, the implication for that.
You mean the purchase order rules?
No. If you go to the budget control configuration.
Yes.
And this, the budget fund available.
Budget funds available, yes.
Yeah. And this one, I just want to understand the implication for this reduction to budget reservation for unconfirmed income basis. What's the implication for this, if you can tell me?
For encumbrances means, for example, the purchase orders, if you want to subtract from budget. For example, actually it works there are two parameters that you have to select. First, you have to select budget reservation for encumbrances, and on documents and journals, you have to control the purchase orders. This means that when you create a new purchase order, this will directly subtract from your budget because you have already tell that it's going to be an expense, right? So if you have
Okay.
1,000 amount in your budget, $1,000, all right, and you have a purchase order with 200, this means that you have funds available of 800, not 100, 1,000. This is what it means. So you have amounts to subtract as budget reservation for encumbrances, okay? And then you can select here the purchase order for it to be controlled.
Okay. Okay. And one of the doubt I was having that if we have excess budget, so when the system is creating the entry, it's. Can you hear me?
Can I have the question again? I think everybody's talking together.
Yeah. Is my voice clear now?
Yes, it's now clear.
Yeah, I just have one doubt that if we have excess budget, so when we are creating the entry, the type is by default as transfer. So we need to allocate the budget fund from one dimension set to another dimension set. Do we have any configuration where this budget, the entry what system is created, it should be of type original?
So you say that no, there is not actually, as far as I understand your question correctly, but you can do it manually by changing your budget. So you have to zero your original budget for another dimension or an account, and then you have to create a new budget for your new account for a system to be able to host the transaction.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, any other questions?
Hi, this is Akhilesh this side. Below. I just wanted to ask that whether this budget control will be applicable on the purchase requisition part also, or is it only for the purchase order?
No, you can have from all the documents journals that are defined here. Here, as you can see, we have purchase requisitions, purchase orders, travel requisitions, vendor invoices, expense reports.
Okay, got it.
But that's the ones that are highlighted in here. And this is all.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, actually,
I think
I
we can
do
take
have
questions.
yeah, I have one question. So in case I'm preparing an inter-unit budget and with the dimensions, so if I want to sell fix a set inter-unit and I don't want to calculate budget, so in the inter-unit sale, so I have put the restriction, the control for the budget, but in the inter-unit sale, I don't want to, that would be a kind of an exception. So how can we take care of that?
There is a function that comes on 10.027 functionality that you can say for specific parameters that you do not want to control on, so you can filter them by query filtering. So you may use that functionality. It is here. Sorry, my environment is a little bit old now, so I will not be able to show you, but here on the documents and journal, there's a filtering functionality and you can filter Like you can say that you don't want to apply this functionality for your inter-unit transactions. So those will not be controlled accordingly.
Okay, so in case of a reclassification of a journal as well, we can skip that budget control.
Yes, like
Okay,
that.
thank you. And apart from that, like one other question is, so I have a control on my purchase order, and that purchase order is like crossing over the next fiscal year. So although my budget is consumed from the purchase order in that fiscal year, but I am invoicing that purchase order in the next fiscal year. So what would be the impact of budget, like whether it is consumed with my current budget or not, like in the current fiscal year?
Budget will be open for that one, but what you can do is for the open purchase orders, you can just carry them forward. There is a functionality to carry forward. Let me check if I can find it from the periodic tasks. It was let me. No, it's not here. But there is a functionality for the purchase order to carry them forward. So you may try to use that if that fits your function, your need.
Although my budget is consumed at when I have created the purchase order, so there is no consumption at the time of posting. That's correct.
Correct.
So in the next fiscal year, it won't.
Yeah, if
Sorry.
you select here the purchase orders, yes, it is. But for example, if you do not want to consume them during the purchase orders, but you want to control the vendor invoices, you may select here the vendor invoices then.
Okay.
It depends on your needs. Or also here for the budget funds available, if you do not want to see, for example, subtract unposted actual expenditures, while it's not unposted, or budget reservation for encumbrances, you can select and do not want to see them all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or?
Can I ask one more if time permits?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I think we can take the last question and we will wrap up.
What we can do to cover the fixed assets in the budget control, I mean the purchase, whether by way of P or by PR, if my fixed asset account is in another account structure, because here in the configuration system is only allowing one account structure to be controlled. So is it some way to do this one, some workaround?
Okay, you have a purchase order, right?
Yeah, I have two account structure. One is for balance sheet and one is for P&L.
Okay.
And
Actually, this is only working order of the P&L. It's not for the balance sheet. There's no balance sheet control. For the balance sheet, I think you need to go for like if it's a purchase order, then it's the vendor control, right? And I'm not so sure if you can control and the vendors, if you can sell it or not. I'm not so sure for that one. Maybe there are new functionalities in Dynamics F&O that stops the vendors, and we can give the limits, which I'm not so sure. But this works for the expenses actually. Expense type of controls that we not the balance sheet. I mean the P&L.
okay, so we don't have any control for the purchase of the fixed assets, correct? Because fixed assets are not the expenses.
You can control the fixed assets because I think it's just first expensing it, then putting to the fixed, then put them to the fixed assets account, as far as I remember. But I need to check. Let me take my note. Okay, what happens if a fixed asset is not a PN, is a balance sheet account? Get back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Sure.
On the fixed asset, I do have one other question. So although I'm controlling my fixed asset basis on the main account, the fixed asset posting profile, so I have created one group for CWIP fixed assets. So although I'm not using the project module in the system, and just creating a CWIP group for fixed asset, it's a kind of project for me. So I want to take uh, create controls on my CWIP as well. And when I am reclassifying that fixed asset, it will be again budgeted in actual fixed assets. So how I want to do both. Like I want to restrict control on my CWIP, and I want on my actuals as well. So I'm creating double the budget for a single fixed asset.
Let me check that and get back to you. All right.
Okay.
If
Thank
it's
you.
fixed asset, also a project.
Yes. No, I'm not using project. I'm just using the fixed asset post group.
Okay, got you. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Rami.
Yeah, I think we can wrap up. Thanks, Vilu. Thanks everyone for joining. We'll publish the video soon in the YouTube. Yeah.